coders, this video discusses about what is constructor, constructors characteristic, type of constructors, example of constructors in Eclipse. Constructor is a method that instantiates a new object. It is to initialize an object immediately upon creation. It has the same name as the class in which it resides. It's syntactically similar to a method. It must have no explicit return type. It cannot be abstract, static, final, and synchronized. There are two types of Java constructors. The first one, default constructor, and the second one, parameterized constructor. Let's see default constructors. A constructor is called default constructor when it doesn't have any parameter. The syntax is as follows. Let's see the example. Here is the example of default constructors. Here I have a class named student and it has two variables, ID that I declare as integer and name that I declare as string. I need to create an object. So the object comes from the student and then the object name equals sign, new keyword, and then student method, which is the constructor here. If I do this, it means this one shows that it has default constructors. So if I run this, the initial value of ID and name is actually default. For integer is 0 and for name, which is string, will be null. To be able to see it, let's make the output comment here. Here is the output comment. So I display the ID by calling the object.id and then I display the name by calling the object.name. So if I run it, it will show that the ID has a default value which is 0 and the name is null because I never initialize it. So if you never initialize it, then the constructor will initialize it with default value. If you have this, it's actually the same as you are calling a constructor method. So if I make a constructor method here is my constructor method. I initialize ID with 0 and name with null. Then I will place this one here. So I will comment this and then I will comment that. And it means this, I just need to display it like that. And then this displayed like that. If I run it from here, then I will call s1.student. Then the result will be the same as previous one. So this is what we call with default constructor. The second constructor is parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor is a constructor which has a specific number of parameters. Let's see the example. Here I have a program with class name student and I have two variables, ID that I declare it as integer and name that I declare it as string. Now I want to have a constructor method. So I create it here. Since I want parameterized constructor, so I have to make that my constructor able to receive value. So it has two parameters here, ID and name. Then I will assign the ID value here from this and then the name value here from this. Now, I have to create the object for this. So here is the object for this. I have two objects. The first object named S1 that send value to the constructor method. And then the second object is S2 that send also value to the constructor method. I make the system.out for displaying the value of the first object. And I will also make the same thing for the second one. So I just change it to S2 here, same here. And I run it. Okay, here it is. So at first, it will create the object from here, S1, and then send the value to the constructor, 001 and Johanna, and then put under ID. So the value will be assigned to ID, the same with Johanna, assigned to name. After that, it will create the second object, S2, and then it will call the constructor method by sending the value 002 and Chloe to the parameters. Once it's done, then it will display the value of the first object, the ID and the name, and then display the value for the second object, which is also ID and the name. So here is the result.
If you learned something from this video, please subscribe and like for more videos. Thanks for watching.